What's going on, everybody? It is Necro Ninja here, and today I'm going to teach you how to do my favorite raid of all time, Garden of Salvation. This raid holds a very, very special place in my heart, so I can't wait to show you guys. In this video, I'm going to show you all the mechanics and how to do them effectively, and I will also be showing you guys where all the secret chests are and everything. I will not be showing you guys how to do the div puzzles in this video, but I will be making another video later on how to do the div puzzles, so keep an eye out for that. But before we begin, I have a couple announcements to make. I am very proud to be helping out with the game to give Bungie Foundation, helping out the Little Lights as much as we can. If you guys are feeling generous and you guys would like to donate to the foundation, the link is going to be down in the description down below. And just put a little sugar on top of that. Every $7 donation you guys make earns you a credit that you can use towards one of many very rare emblems, or even this wonderful, beautiful, exotic ship that you see right here on screen. So if you guys are feeling generous and want to help out the Little Lights, the link is down in the description below, and it's much appreciated. We're very close to our first milestone. We've already raised $666. I know. Anyways, moving on. If you guys like the video and you guys like what I do here and you guys want to see more, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below. Your support is super appreciative, and I love all of you guys, and I hope you know that. Alright, so let's get into my favorite raid of all time, Garden of Salvation. Alright, so when we spawn into the raid, you're going to see a giant portal in front of you. All you got to do, move forward, take out all the enemies, go through the portal, and we're going to move on to our first encounter, escaping the Harpy. So for this first encounter, we're just going to want to have a lot of ad clear weaponry on. There is no boss DPS here. It's straight ad clear, so put on your best ad clear weapons. Gallowhorn, rocket launcher, whatever you want, man. Do be warned, there are going to be some overload champions, but there's only going to be like 2 that you really need to worry about. So if you can handle the 2 of them, you're good. All right, so right at the start here, we're going to want to split the team up into 2 teams. Team number 1 is going to stay in this first room, and team number 2 is going to tether themselves from this box here. When you shoot the box, it's going to create a tether attaching it to the nearest person, and then if somebody else gets close, it's going to attach to them, and then so on and so forth. So you're going to tether. You'll tether from that box to the key that is locking the door. Once the tether touches the key, it'll unlock the door, and the door will be open. So let me explain what team number 1 is going to do first. So team number 1 is going to be doing a bit of babysitting. As soon as that door unlocks, the boss is going to just fly off and then drop a cube of Vex Smoke. You'll need to pick up that cube of Vex Smoke. If you do not pick up that cube of Vex Smoke, it will wipe the whole team. When you pick up that cube of Vex Smoke, it's going to give you a debuff. If you try to pick up another cube of Vex Smoke while you have this debuff, you're going to die. However, if you have to sacrifice yourself for the greater good of the raid team, do it. By all means, if your team's not paying attention, send it. Go for it. We will build monuments in your name. So while team 1 is taking turns picking up the Vex Cube, team number 2 is in the second room, and they are killing all the ads. Everything. Destroy everything. Nothing lives. After they've cleared out all the ads, a special angelic hydra is going to spawn. They'll need to kill that angelic hydra, and that's going to unlock the next box, the next tether box. At that point, they're going to tether from that box to unlock the next room. As soon as they do that, the boss will teleport from room number 1 into room number 2. Team number 2 is going to stay in room number 2, and now they are going to be babysitting team. Team number 1, we're going to leapfrog over team number 2 into room number 3, and then we're going to be killing all of the ads in there. Repeat the process, kill all the ads, take care of the angelic hydra, unlock the door with the tether, and once we do that, the boss will teleport from the second room into the third room, and then we switch our roles again. Team number 1 is back on babysitting duty, and team number 2 is leapfrogging over us into the 4th room. Now, when you get into the 4th room, there is 3 keys this time, so after you kill all the ads and take care of the angelic hydra, we will need to unlock 3 keys. Once you unlock the first key, the boss will teleport out of the 3rd room and into the final room, the 5th room. At this point, both teams can converge, and then they can help each other unlock these final 2 keys. Once this door is open, it is a mad dash to the end. There's going to be chaos and fire and brimstone and hydras and cyclopses and overload champions. You can just basically ignore all of this. All you need to do is get to the end. One person, that's it. All they need to do is get to the end. But along the way, the boss will still be dropping 3 more cubes that we have to pick up. Here is where if you have to sacrifice yourself for the greater good of the raid team, please do so. As long as one person makes it to the end and none of those Vex cubes explode, the encounter is over and you have done the first encounter. So right after we finish the first encounter, we are going to move on into a little jumping puzzle. In this jumping puzzle, there is a secret chest. So if you follow this pathway, I will lead you straight to it. And then we will move on to the second encounter. So for the second encounter, you're going to notice that there is a Conflux in front of you. There's not just one, there's actually 5 of them. 4 of which we're going to pay attention to right now. So what I want you to do is I want you to picture this map kind of like a diamond. The first thing we're going to do before we do anything is decide on 2 people to be runners. The other 4 people are going to be defending one of the 4 Confluxes. After you decide who the 2 runners are, then you're going to want to assign people to these plates. Plate 1, plate number 2 is to the left up this pathway. Plate number 3 is to the right of plate number 2. Plate number 4 is to the right of plate number 3. To get everybody to their respective plates, I like to do what I like to call the bus stop method. So runner number 1 and plate number 1 are going to stay at plate number 1 until we get somebody to plate number 2. To get everybody to their plates, runner number 2 is going to lead the group down the hallway and drop people off as they go. Once they get to a Conflux, there's going to be 2 barrier champions and an angelic. I want to make sure that they die, and on any ads that are left over or anything, you will tether the person that is to be left there, and then you will drop them off and you will move on to the next plate. We'll do the same thing. 2 more barrier champions and an angelic. Tether the person you're leaving there and then move on. All right, so let's start the explanation with the defenders, the 4 people who are not running. Each one of you will be placed at one of the 4 plates. Your goal is to make sure that none of the Vex sacrifice on that Conflux. After a short while, the ads are going to start spawning in with special shields. You cannot break these shields with your regular weapons. To break these shields, you need the Enlightenment buff. To get the Enlightenment buff, you're going to notice that there's a box, just like the box that we were doing in the first encounter, centered kind of right in the center there. You'll tether from the box to the key, which is above the Conflux, and once you do, everybody who was in the tether is going to get the Enlightenment buff. The Enlightenment buff will allow you to break the shields so that you can take care of the enemies. The Enlightenment buff has a timer and will need to be refreshed periodically, and that's where the runners come in handy. Once everybody's gotten to their plates and enlightened, then that's where the encounter kind of fully starts. At random, one of the plates is randomly going to get 3 of those angelic hydras. You'll just need to take care of them. Once you do, it'll unlock the box again so you can continue getting your alignment buff. Now, runners, there's going to be 2 of you. One runner is going to be running between plate number 1 and number 2, and one runner is going to be running between plate number 3 and number 4. Don't worry, you're not actually going to have to run the entire length of that hallway. Once you get somebody there that's enlightened, a portal is going to open up that will allow you to teleport between plates much faster. Your job as the runner is to just make sure that the 2 plates that you are running between are always enlightened, so they can always break the shields, and also help them out when the angelics come. After each of the 4 plates have gotten their 3 angelics, that's 12 angelics in total, they're all dead. The center shield is going to open up. There's one last Conflux we have to worry about. Everyone is going to run towards the middle. There are a bunch of ads, and then we're going to kill an angelic hydra and then tether from the box to the Conflux in the middle. You're going to try to make it in as straight of a line as possible to try to get everybody in the tether. But if you miss out on the tether, as long as there are several people who have the enlightenment buff, we should be good. From here, you're just going to want to hunt out the angelics. They'll be floating around in the back. Just find them, kill them, unlock the box again, re-tether up because there will be another round of angelics, and then do it again. Hunt out the angelics, take them out, and then just rebuff yourself if needed to get rid of the last of the enemies. Once all of the enemies are dead, the encounter is over, and you've just finished the second encounter. All right, so now for encounter number 3. This is going to be our first boss fight. For weaponry, I highly recommend using linear fusion rifles, or if you're feeling frisky, you can use an LMG. What we're going to need to do is we're going to need to split the fire team up into 2 teams. We're going to have an eyes team, and we're going to have a gambit team. Now let me explain eyes team first. For eyes team, I would highly recommend putting a slug shotgun on. This is going to be super helpful when you're dealing with the eyes. Eyes team is going to be babysitting the boss again. The boss is going to fly down one of the hallways that does not have a floor to it. We're going to spit up another Vex cube, just like in the first encounter. And just like in the first encounter, if you do not pick it up, it will wipe the whole team. And just like in the first encounter, when you do pick it up, you're going to get the debuff. So if you try to pick up another one, you're going to die. Now here's where it's a little bit different. When you pick up this cube, you're going to get locked into place. You cannot move. You can look around, but you cannot move. The boss will be right in front of you. The boss is then going to open up its flaps. There are going to be 3 flaps, and on each of these flaps, there's going to be 2 eyes. Now I'm gonna put up a diagram on the screen here. The boss is going to show the person who picked up the cube a set of eyes. 3 eyes are going to glow. It's either going to be all 3 of the inner or all 3 of the outer. Now the inner eyes are the ones closest to the big center eye. The outer eyes are the ones furthest from the center eye. When you pick up the cube, he's going to show you. You need to call out to your teammates which set of eyes it is, inner or outer. And then at the same time, you guys are all going to shoot that respective eye. One on the one on the left, the one in the middle, and the one on the right, all at the same time. If you shoot the wrong eye, the person who picked up the cube is going to die. If you take too long, the person who picked up the cube is going to die. Be fast and be precise. Now, once you get really good at this, you can solo the eyes, and that's where the slug shotgun comes in handy. It will one-shot the eyes, so you don't have to worry about it. If you're trying to use like an auto rifle or something, it's going to take a little bit. But as you can see with a slug shotgun, you can one-tap the eyes and get out of there rather quickly before he kills you. This is all that eyes team is going to do. They're going to babysit the boss. They'll help clear some ads in the middle for the gambit team. They will not touch any of Gambit Team's motes. Very important, do not touch any of Gambit Team's motes or you're going to throw off the whole feng shui of Gambit Team. And as long as Gambit Team is fast, Eyes Team doesn't have to start throwing themselves away by picking up. Because on the 4th pickup, someone's going to have to die pretty much. So, now, Gambit Team. It's Gambit. We're basically playing Gambit. There's going to be a Conflux that is going to spawn down one of the hallways that does have a floor. It's going to be rather hard to miss. It's going to be a giant beam of light shining from the heavens. When you kill a Minotaur, the Minotaur is going to drop 5 motes. You can hold a maximum of 10 motes. Now the goal here is to make sure that nothing sacrifices on that Conflux before you fill it up. So the order that you're going to want to deposit these motes in is 5, 10, 10, 5. So the first person is going to pick up 5 motes, and then they're going to run down the Conflux, and then they're going to deposit it into the Conflux. Once they do, they're going to get the enlightenment buff. With the enlightenment buff, they will fend off the ads, so nothing sacrifices on the Conflux. While they're doing that, player number 2 is going to gather their 10. They're going to gather 10 motes, so that's 2 Minotaurs. Once they gather their 10, they're going to run down to where the Conflux is, and then they're going to deposit. At the same time, the first person who went down there is going to go back to the middle to grab their last set of 5. While that's happening, player number 3 is gathering their 10 motes, killing 2 Minotaurs. Once they get their 10, they're going to run down to the Conflux and they're going to deposit and they're going to help defend. Player 2 and 3 will stay at the Conflux because that's where damage is going to happen. Player 1 We'll just get the last 5 motes and then go down and meet the rest of the team. After they deposit all of the motes, there should be 30 motes, the boss is going to rush down to the Conflux and open up all of its flaps. Both Ice team and Game team need to be at the Conflux at this time to do damage. I'm gonna open up all its flaps. If you've done the Spire of the Watcher boss fight, this is where they got that idea from. This is where it comes from. It's the same concept. All the eyes, pop all of the eyes, and once you do, the center eye will glow white and it is vulnerable, and the boss will start backpedaling down the hallway while you're doing damage to it. A couple things to note: you're going to want to always be pushing forward with the boss, because at some point it does drop a wall that will block off. Number 2, don't use anything that has like tracking to it, like Gallahorn or a Blade Barrage or Swarm or anything like that, because it kind of throws the boss off of its tracks a little bit, and it gets a little wibbly wonkly, and then it could do some real gangster moves and like juke you out and trap you, and then everybody gets locked out of damage, and then it's bad. This boss is super easy to one phase. It does not have a lot of health, especially if you're shooting it with div and everybody's shooting it with linear fusion rifles. It goes down rather quickly, but if you don't knock it out in the first run, just rinse and repeat, same thing. And once the boss is dead, GG, you finish the encounter. So making our way to the final encounter, the final boss, you're gonna make your way towards the marker. You'll pick up your loot. You'll notice that there are a set of portals in front of you. The bottom one is a trick, don't fall for it, but the top one there, if you go through that, something rather cool, and there's a nice little Easter egg that happens. Go ahead, check it out. I'm not going to ruin it for you. Go check it out for yourself. But anyways, you guys are going to want to go to the left, and then you'll find some windmills. Once you get up top of the windmills here, I will show you that there is a secret chest coming on up. If you follow this pathway to it, I will lead you right to it. All right, we've made it all the way to the final boss. Now, along the way, if you've picked up some raid armor and a mod for the raid armor called Enhanced Relay Defender, you can go ahead and slap those on to, it's going to increase your damage from where we're going to be standing. It's basically saying anytime you're near an active conflux, you're going to deal like 5% more damage, and the mod stacks, so the more you have, the better you do. But if you don't have any, that's okay, it doesn't matter. We're gonna get you through it. For this boss fight, you can use rockets, you can use linear, whatever you feel comfortable with. Rockets or linears is pretty much the meta right now for this boss. So to start things off, we're going to split the team up into 3 teams of 2. There's going to be a game of team number 1, a game of team number 2, and a build team. Now, when I Sherpa this live on stream, which if you guys didn't know, I stream live on Twitch, so if you guys can go check it out, you can catch these videos live while I'm doing them. Selfish plug. links in the description. But anyways, when I do these live on stream, I totally ignore the build team. We do keep the 2 people outside to help defend the confluxes that are going to be there, but we don't do the build mechanic. However, I am still going to teach you guys how to do the mechanic, because this video wouldn't be 100% correct if I didn't. So when the encounter starts, there's going to be a conflux to the left and a conflux to the right. The conflux to the left is going to be the blue conflux. The conflux to the right is going to be an orange conflux. The boss is going to have 2 weak points on it. It's going to have one on its left knee and one on its right shoulder. When you break the weak spot on the left knee, a blue portal is going to spawn out in the Vex Milk. You break the weak spot on the right shoulder, an orange portal is going to spawn on the right side in the Vex Milk. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to break the left knee and then spawn that portal. We're going to then send Gamma Team number 1 into that portal. They're going to spawn on the left island, and there's going to be a bunch of ads. They're going to want to take care of all the ads, kill all the ads. Every ad is going to drop blue motes. You want to make sure you pick up all the blue motes as possible, as many as you can. The goal is to not leave that island unless you have 15 motes at least. Remember, you can only hold 10 per person. A rule of thumb is when you spawn into one of these island locations, if you see goblins and minotaurs, the maximum amount of motes that you're going to get out of that is 15. If you see harpies, the maximum amount of motes that you're going to get out of that is 18. So if you get harpies, you have a little bit of wiggle room if one of the motes or something falls off the map. Once Gamma Team 1 has collected all the motes, they're going to let us know on the outside that they have collected all the motes. We are then going to break the weak spot on the knee again, which is going to spawn another blue portal in the Vex mode. It's going to teleport Team 1 out right where you would place the flag. At the same exact time, Gamma Team number 2 needs to go through that blue portal. And you gotta go fast because these portals do not last very long. Gamma Team number 1 is going to take the motes that they have collected and they're going to deposit it into the blue Conflux. Blue portal, blue motes, blue Conflux. Once you deposit the motes into the Conflux, you will get the Enlightenment buff, which then you'll be used to defend both the blue and the orange Conflux from the shielded enemies. You do not want to let anything sacrifice on any of these Confluxes. If something sacrifices, you lose 6 motes. If you don't have any motes in the Conflux, you're going into the negative. Once Gamma Team number 2 is done collecting their motes, they're going to let us know. We'll break the knee. They will respawn out here, and then they're going to go and deposit their motes into the Conflux. The Conflux needs 30 motes to fill. Once it is full, nothing can sacrifice on it. Everything will still try, but it won't be allowed. The Conflux is full and locked, and it's safe, so we can totally just ignore it. Now, at this point, once the Conflux is full, we are going to move all the way over to the orange side, and we're going to rinse repeat. Gamma Team number 1, we're going to shoot the shoulder. It's going to spawn an orange Conflux into the right side of the Vex Smoke. They will run through. They will get spawned to the right island. They'll kill everything they can. Let us know. Come on out. Gamma Team number 2 is going to go in, do the same thing. Come on out. Deposit the motes into the orange Conflux. Orange portal, orange motes, orange Conflux. Now, 2 things happen when you break a weak point. When you break a weak point, it is going to spawn a Cyclops on the side that you broke the weak point. If you broke the knee on the left, a Cyclops is going to spawn on the left rock in the back there. If you broke the shoulder on the right, a Cyclops is going to spawn on the right rock. These are bothersome and annoying. Generally, as soon as they spawn, you want to kill them. They want to go down. You do not want them there. There's nothing more annoying than trying to deposit your motes and then getting blown up by a Cyclops, and then you lose all your motes. That's terrible. You do not want that to happen. The second thing that happens is the boss will delete a part of the floor. If you are standing on the part of the floor that the boss is deleting, you will be deleted with it. You'll notice that the floor is being deleted because it'll be getting all red and wiggly, and you'll start burning. Get off the floor. Do not stand there. Do not die. Now, there is a mechanic to rebuild the floors, and I'm gonna show you real quick. There are keys that are kind of scattered throughout the map, and there are tether boxes on top of the Confluxes. To rebuild a part of the floor, you go to where it is missing, and you will tether from the box to the key that is in front of the missing part. So it's either in the back side, there'll be one in the back, or the front side, there'll be one in the front. Once you tether to the key, it will rebuild that floor. Again, don't stand where it's rebuilding, you'll die. When it comes to the Sherpering this raid, I typically avoid this mechanic because it does stress people out. Because there are times, there's a lot of things happening at once and a lot of different moving parts. And I've noticed that a lot of unprepared LFG groups will get really frustrated with this mechanic because as they're trying to rebuild some of the floor, the Gambit team is coming back they get caught up in the tether, and then they can't deposit their motes, and then things start trying to sacrifice, and everybody's starting yelling at each other, and it gets really frustrating. So I'm a firm believer of living without floors, but you guys, you know, this is obviously safer, easier. You don't have to worry about being in Vex mode all the time and taking the constant tick damage, but tomato, I guess, right? Now, once both Confluxes are full, both have 30 in them, it is damage time. The boss is going to then create a key on itself. It's going to make a giant key. That key is either going to be blue or it's going to be orange. Depending on the color of it, that is where we need to tether from to break it. So if it's blue, we need to go to the blue Conflux, tether from the blue Conflux to him to break the key. If it's orange Conflux to him to break the key. Now we only need 3 people to tether. The other 3 people should be set up for damage. The time that we have for damage is very short. He does not give us a lot of time. He doesn't have a lot of health in general, but his DPS time is so low that you're going to be doing 1 or 2 phases. You're going to be doing 2 or 3 phases anyways. So 3 people will tether from the Conflux that they need to the boss, and it will break the key, and then they will rush over to the other Conflux to do DPS. Now the reason why we do DPS over by the Conflux, like I said at the beginning of this encounter, for those people who are rocking the raid armor with that mod, being near that active Conflux is going to increase their damage, and it's going to be beneficial for everybody. He is a Vex Minotaur. His weak spot is going to be the Ooey Gooey Center. If you do have somebody who has Div on the team with you, Div is really good here. Just do as much damage as you possibly can to him. Once the DPS phase is over, you're going to have a few seconds to go ahead and rebuild missing floors before he sends out his another Angelic to block the boxes again. So get together as a team if you want and rebuild some floors, or not. It's up to you. And then just rinse and repeat. You know, do the whole thing again. You know, fill up both Confluxes, get to DPS, knock him out, and take him down. And once he's dead, that's it. You've done it. You've completed Garden of Salvation. And honestly, see, that wasn't really that bad, was it? Go drop down into the pyramid below and pick up your loot and enjoy. Because you just completed the best raid in the game. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Toodaloos!